Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahe tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today we are going to work with the seventh chakra. This is an experience that is beyond my limited ability to describe in words. Many of you are poets or lyricists and will have a better ability to explain or to describe the experience of working with that which is beyond everything that we know. For me, the mindset that is the most compelling for this is when I read about astrophysics, when I think about what happens when everything is absorbed by a black hole. And that's what I think of as shunya, of that space beyond what we know. Also, what existed before the Big Bang? What happens when all different eventualities, when every dimension is possible at the same time? Those are the kind of conundrums that help me get to that mindset of what working with the seventh chakra is like. So today's practice is going to be sort of the mundane and the ultimate beyond. We're going to work with our wonderful bodies to make sure they're well cared for and able to sit while we do longer meditation times. All right, so we'll transition into our practice in the typical way. I use a Kundalini chant to step into this different way of being, and you may have a different chant you like, but I'm going to use what's called the Adi mantra. Think about the concept of grounding. What can you do in your body? What can you do in your mindset right now to feel as though you have a greater stability, a greater sense to recover from disturbances, a sense of permanent, unchanging support? Now put your attention on what your experience is of divinity. Whatever term you need to use, what is that craving, that desire inside of you for something that is more? We'll take one slightly deeper inhale and exhale. And then let's inhale and chant. Namo Guru Deva Namo. Namo Guru Deva Namo. Namo Deva Namo. Inhale. Work with the lower three energy centers, feeling as though you can grab onto dormant energy, unused energy, compress, 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 and then draw it up the spine. Great. Okay, good. And like I said, we're going to start with the most mundane, down with our toes and feet. So you can extend your legs out. And we'll flex the toes towards, just the toes towards our face, and then try and curl your toes up tightly. curl your toes towards you, curl your toes away from you. When you bring them towards you, see if you can get some space between your toes. Back and forth. This can be quite a feat in and of itself. Keep your focus. Great. Now let's move into the ankles. Point your feet away from you as hard as you can. Point your feet towards you as hard as you can. Your heels might even lift away from the floor. We'll go back and forth. Great, let's make a few circles. Your toes can work with this as well, drawing them away and towards you. Go the other way with your circles. If you need to put your hands on your thighs to stabilize the knee joints so that all the movement is in the ankles, you can do that. Good. Okay, a couple more flexes. Now we're going to do one of the for me, the most excruciating practices in yoga, and we're going to sit in a manner that stretches out the soles of the feet. It's an area that can become particularly stiff and tight as we age. So you're going to be balancing on your toes with the sides of your feet together, and then you work your knees towards the ground. You may get your knees there, you may not. Some people have enough flexibility in their calves and their feet that they can sit up onto their heels, but you want to be able to keep breathing. So if the pain is such that you hold your breath, move into a less intense stretch. In general, as we age, the luscious fat pads on the soles of the feet are depleted, and so it can make walking more painful, more difficult. So we want to do whatever we can to keep our feet as healthy as possible. This might be quite an intense experience. Hang in there a little bit longer. Great. And then lift up off of your feet and sit back down on them the other direction if you can. And you can get a stretch on the front side of your feet by lifting your knees up off the floor. Your knees might not bend as much as what I'm doing today, so see if there's a variation that you can get that will do the same thing. All right, poor little feet. We're going to do one more time of stretching out, actually releasing some of the excess stiffening and connective tissue in the soles of the feet, maybe up and through the ankles. All right, wonderful. And then we're going to shift back to sitting with the legs outstretched. As always, if sitting like this is a challenge, then you just put something underneath your sits bones higher and higher until it's not so challenging, until you get that sense of stability. So we're going to go back to the feet now. We're going to passively move the ankle joints. So you're going to hold your foot. I always start with the left foot just because there's some more advanced postures where you do always start on the left. So roll your ankle. No muscular movement in your ankle at all. It's all passive in your hands. Okay, good. Now grab each toe in succession, hold it like that, and we're going to just twist it to see if there's any mobilization in the joints that can happen. You might get tiny little pops as those stiff joints loosen up. And then last but not least, let's passively curl the toes one way, draw them the other, curl them one way, draw them the other. And you can even see what it's like to get your fingers in between your toes. It might not happen in all of them, it might not go very far, but you can do that same curling and flexing with your fingers interlaced between your toes. Yikes, okay, great. And extend that foot out. Other foot. Stabilize with one hand and move the joint passively with the other hand. Reverse directions. Okay, now take your toe, squeeze the toenail bed in the back of the toe and just twist side to side. See if you can get any additional mobility in those little joints that can get stuck. Great. Then we're going to go passive back and forth with the toes. And if you can and if you want, see what it's like to get your fingers in between those toes and continue with the mobility. Great. And then whatever you need to do to get any kinks out. Great. Back to the left leg. Hold on behind the thigh. Stabilize yourself with the strength that you have in your midsection, and we'll make a big circle to where your leg is completely straight, and then the heel comes down, and then you lengthen your heel away from you, bring it in. So it's like your heel is making a circle, and you want to get your leg completely straight at the top of the circle. And again, if you need to do this sitting in a chair or some other way to modify it, the most important thing is getting that circle with your leg. Now that we've done a few, we're going to go the opposite direction. That might take a little reprogramming in your brain to reverse the direction. Great, so we've been making a circular movement this way with the heel. Now we're going to make a circular movement this way with the heel. So get as big a circle as you can, and we're stabilizing so that all of the movement is in the knee. Okay, now go the other direction. Great, and then plant your heel, slide your leg out, and see if there's any movement you'd like to do to feel complete with that. Go to the other side. So stabilize the knee joint, stabilize your torso with the strength of your core, and we'll make those big circling movements with the heel. Making sure you get that full contraction. This is great for your knee to get that leg completely straight and fully engaged in the quad. Okay, good. Go the other way. All right, stabilize. So we did the circle this way. Now we're going to do the circling of the heel this way. And reverse. Good. Plant your heel, slide your leg out. See if there's any movement that you would like to do to feel complete with that. All right, we're gonna do just a little bit of warm up in the hips. So back to the left leg coming across. You wanna be not directly on top of your knee, you can be below it or above it. You could be all the way up to your hip, depending on your flexibility. The goal here is to get as much movement into your hip socket as you can. So you're gonna have both hands on your knee and try and get as big a circle as you can. And then go the other way. Great, go ahead and plant that foot on the floor. Draw your knee and your torso towards each other. And then turn towards the hip that is with the bent knee, and pull your knee towards your armpit so that you get some more stretch along that outside upper hip. Great. And then let your knee fall towards the floor, and we'll just do a little up and down movement here. One that we do a lot, so this should feel quite familiar. Great, and then pull into your chest, plant the heel, slide the leg out. See if there's anything that you would like to do to feel complete with that. Okay, other side. Circle the knee in such a way that you feel you can get the most movement in the hip socket. If you can direct your mental focus into your hip, whatever ability you have to visualize that, feel like you're getting healthier in your hip, reverse the direction of your circles. Thinking about your hip and how healthy it is, how you're increasing the health of your hip. Great, plant that heel on the floor. Knee pointing upwards, twist towards the bent hip, and take that knee into your armpit so that you can get a stretch in through the IT band, tensor fascia lata. Good. Let the knee flop open, and then a fairly passive movement in that hip joint. Great. Knee into the chest, plant the heel, slide the leg out. Is there anything that you want to do to feel complete with that little routine? Okay, so we've done lower body. Let's do a little bit in the spine. Good old spinal flex. Hands on the knees or the shins, whichever you prefer, and think about your spine. So moving slowly to start out with. Try and have a sense of each segment of the spine moving in a forward bend and then in a backward bend. Inhale. Work with mahabandha. And great, release. Let's do a little rotational movement in the spine. Twist one way and then the other. You can coordinate with your breath. Have all of your attention in your spine and feeling and being aware of improving the vitality, the range of motion. So we're warming up our physical body, but you can be warming up your mental realm as well by continually drawing your attention back to being focused on the spine, and with the intention of your spine becoming more healthy, restoring balance, increasing circulation. Good. Inhale to center. Work with mahabandha. Draw energy up, draw energy up. See if you can get it through the neck lock as well. Exhale, release. All right, just a little bit more warm up to do here. Let's work with the hands now. So hold one forearm still and flex your wrist as hard as you can one way, hard as you can the other way. Using the stabilizing of the other hand so that all the movement's in the wrist and not in the elbow. And just like all the other practices, use this as a time for warming up the mind as well. So however you can have a sense of the health of your wrist. Good. Shake that out. Shake your hand like you're a baby waving bye-bye. Good. All right, let's do the other side. Thinking about the health of your wrist. Exerting control over the fluctuations of your mind. Good, and then shake that out. And flap your hand like you're a baby, waving goodbye. All right, just like we did with our toes, you're gonna grab each of your digits between the nail bed and the back, and you're gonna twist side to side, trying to mobilize any stiffness or arthritic joints. Grab each finger in succession and twist. Another hand. You might get some very gratifying little pops. Great, and then flex a little bit. Arms out in front of you, palms facing up. Touch your shoulders, extend the arms back out, touch your shoulders, extend the arms back out. Focusing on the alignment, the health, the vitality of your elbows. Next time your fingertips come in, leave them in and squeeze your elbows as close towards each other as you can, and then see how high up you can take them, and then see how far to the sides you can take them. As far back, as far down, as far together, and keep going like that. Okay, we're going to reverse and go the other direction with those circles. So you're focusing on the socket up in the shoulders, but also you can focus on the shoulder blades, those triangular shape. All right, last little physical thing that we'll do is just something for the neck and shoulders. We're going to do this nice and slow. So you're going to squeeze, compressing, the tops of the shoulders, the side of the neck, and concentrate on those shoulder blades, those triangular shoulder blades, moving up towards your ears, and then draw them down. Feel like the sides of your shoulders are reaching towards the side walls. Good. Squeeze and go up. Compress. Squishing all the old stagnant circulation out. Draw the shoulder blades down. Draw the shoulders to the side walls. Inhale, enjoy that. Let's do it a few more times, super slow. And then speed it up just a little bit. Good. And then any final little movement that you'd like to make to feel complete. You might need to give your knees a break. If you do, extend your legs out. You know the routine, bounce your knees, move your feet around, do whatever you need to do to feel better. Okay, we're gonna move to the bandhas part of the practice. It's gonna work like this. We'll do 30 rounds of breath of fire. If you are not familiar with mahabandha, then you're gonna inhale, hold the breath in for as long as you can stay peaceful, and then exhale, and wait for us to catch up with you. If you are familiar with mahabandha, then after the 30 rounds of breath of fire, we'll inhale, exhale, engage mahabandha, and then your torso is going to be like a toothpaste tube where you're compressing, rolling up from the base of the body. You'll feel compression through second chakra area, low belly, across the navel, squeezing all the air out. And then in the upper body, you'll simultaneously be leaning into the palms of your hands as they press into the knees. Elbows straighten, shoulders might shrug. The inner part of your elbows squeeze towards each other. And then I'd like you, if you want, use tongue mudra, use eye mudra, and then work with the alignment of your neck and head so that you feel that energy surge or movement from your spine up into the cranium, up towards the top of the head. All right, so here we go. Let's do 30 rounds of breath of fire. And now inhale. Stay here and hold your breath as long as you like. Or now exhale, lifting in and up on the pelvic floor. Start to squeeze up, roll up that toothpaste tube across the navel, across the chest, squeezing every bit of air out. Hands pressed down into the knees, shoulders up. Squeeze the inside of the elbows together so you can feel a squish in your throat. Work with the alignment of the head so you feel the energy move into it. When you're ready, let all of that go. Sit to where you're balanced on your sit bones again. Let's do another round. All right, and we'll take that deep inhale. Either stay there and hold, or exhale as you squeeze mahabandha, pelvic floor, as though you're compressing energy, compressing across the low belly, across the navel, squeezing the air out of your chest, all the air out, press down through your hands. When you're ready, release everything. Shift your weight back onto your sits bones. Breathe. You can continue to direct movement upwards by imagining the top of your head being a flower with an infinite number of petals. That is the closest we can get. Sahasrara means thousand, a thousand, which is supposed to represent infinity. But even infinity is not enough to describe the number of petals. In these pauses, be open to any images or sensations, experiences. All right, let's do one more round. And a full inhale. Staying there or exhaling into mahabandha. All those alignments that I've already described, that you're already familiar with, remembering that when you're in the fullness of the position, you engage the muscles of an inhale without letting any air in. Coming out when it's time to come out. Notice that your mind is able to be more blank and still than usual, and just lean into the stillness, the thoughtlessness, possibly the visualizations. Good, okay. We're going to do 2 more practices, neither for terribly long. The next one is a combination meditation pranayama exercise. And I like to use a mental mantra of Wahe Guru. If you're not comfortable with that, then you can pick anything. The reason I like it is because you can break it into 4 beats or syllables. The whole practice is going to look like this. We'll every time inhale through the left nostril, hold the breath a really long time. Every time exhale out the right. In the in-between time, I use my fingers to help me count where I'm at, because we're going to try and do 16 mental repetitions of Waheguru. Each one of those beats, you're going to contract your navel point. So it's going to look like this. With the breath held in, Wa-he-guru, 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 Wa-he-guru. So you have to go really fast to do all those Wahegurus on one breath. If you can't do that many, do as many as you can do. Let's go ahead and kick that off. So left hand can be in Gyan Mudra. The other hand, I move through my fingers to help me count. All right, so here we go. Deep inhale. Suspend the breath, like Mulband, like Jalandhara Bandha. Wa-e-guru. Mentally, Wa-e-guru, Wa-e-guru, Wa-e-guru. Oh. So you're going to try and do the Wahe Guru repetition with the pumping of the navel 4 times through each of your fingers. So it's a lot of repetitions. Again, just do what you can, and let's continue going at your own pace. You're doing a great job. Just keep reminding yourself, inhale through the left nostril, exhale through the right. It's easy to get spaced out in this one, so just keep drawing your attention back towards the practice. Keep going just a little bit longer, and we're really working on moving the navel as far in and out as we can in these short little beats. It's helping to prime us for the final meditation of the practice today. Just a couple more rounds, and if you need to do fewer repetitions, do so really doing your best to focus on that movement of the navel point forward and backwards, forwards and backwards. And final round. All right, after you exhale, put your awareness at the navel, It should be fairly easy to do after all that pumping. And we're going to do a very tiny movement of, it's kind of a merger between energetic sensation and physical movement. So feel as though you're on the inside of your navel, you're pulling your navel towards your spine. And then over to one side, and then forward, and then over to the other side, and then back to the side, forward to the other side. This tiny little gyration going at your navel. From the outside, it might not even be apparent that you're moving at all. It's a very subtle movement. The base of your body is strong and stable. Well, from the navel point up, you're going to get more and more of your torso engaged in this very tiny spiraling movement upwards. Moving up through the chest. You might need to work with the alignment of your head and neck and the light, like moving towards Jalandhara Bandha, so you can get that sense of movement through the throat and all the way up to the top of the head. Well, it's like there is a very narrow, tiny vortex or tornado moving inside of your body. If you are familiar with Shambhavi Mudra and want to take your eyes up, tongue mudra, take your tongue up. Feel that vortex, that little tornado sensation moving out beyond the top of your head. And that infinite numbered flower not only is in the top of your head, but expanding outwards, upwards. Eventually, this movement feels self-generated. It feels as though you are being pulled upwards. For me, it can sometimes feel as though there's a little suction on the top of my head, drawing me up, 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 up. Let go of your sense of self. Know that you're safe. Move further. Go further. Let yourself go into pure potentiality. We're going to move out of this slowly. So you may want to begin by releasing the eye mudra and the tongue mudra. You may have a craving to want to remain in this space, and that's good because you will draw yourself back here over and over again. Allow the circling to slowly wind itself down like a quarter spinning, and then slowly, slowly, slowly stopping. Either relax on your back or stay seated. Whichever position you choose, do your best to lean in towards that blank, thoughtless space or the representations that come to you from the practice. The experiences that might reveal themselves to you because of the practice. Just like with that spiraling meditation, we're going to come out of this slowly. So whether you're lying down or sitting up, we're going to move our attention back into the normal sensory mode. Think about the room that you're in. Remember some of the images in that room, some of the objects in the room. Maybe take a deep breath, see if you can smell anything. Swallow, see if you can taste anything. Listen, see if you can hear something other than my voice. Feel the air on your skin. Feel the ground supporting you. As you tap into your body, start to wiggle and move and come back into your body however feels good for you. Take another 30 seconds or so. And if you're lying down, do whatever you need to come up to seated with minimal strain, with minimal effort. All right, and then once we're upright, we're going to chant. My hope is that the practice today allowed you to experience what is impossible to describe, that you have been able to create the experience for yourself. We're going to end by chanting Sat Nam one time, hands together. Sat Nam. The unlimited in me bows to the unlimited in you. Sat Nam. Namaste. Shalom. See you next time.